Bonds rallied. I mean, two-year yields pretty much below 4 basis points right now. I'm just wondering, the bond market is pretty certain that the tightening cycle is over. Is it right?
Well, I think what stood out to us yesterday was not so much about the 25 basis points and the dovish peak, right? It's really the linking of what the rate hikes were going to be, and they did not need to do as much with the financial tightening with what the banking events that we've seen recently. That caused the market to think about how different it could have been. And now if you see where markets are pricing, we cannot be further away from the dot plots that didn't change overnight.
But there is that still disconnect between markets and the Fed. I mean, Powell says no cuts this year, and yet the markets still think that it's going to happen.
I mean, down to where we think our expectations are that the market might have kind of ran quite a bit in terms of taking out, and more importantly, rate cuts. Rate cuts right immediately by second half of the year. In our minds, we think that the end of hikes, we're probably closer to the end of hikes, but for rate cuts to happen so quickly, we might need to kind of see inflation and labor markets turn more decisively.
So if I think that the Fed hikes are close, if not over, can I expect this yield curve to flat or steepen more from here?
I think that kind of makes sense. I mean, we like, in a way, playing long end steepness. You know, when we're closer to the end of the rate hiking cycle, this is where it kind of gets down to, right? In the long end, the curve starts steepening. Yeah. It's very difficult to kind of go on the 210s, as Lyndon mentioned, how volatile it has been in the front end rates. It's difficult to put on a trade there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about just what we've seen with Credit Suisse and these AT1 bonds. Obviously, we've seen a bit of roilings here in that market in Europe and the like. In Asia, it's been a little bit limited, some guests have told me. I'm just wondering, does that give you an opportunity to buy? What sort of opportunities do you see in that space now?
Yeah, I think first we need to understand the fundamentals, right? The situation, what we are seeing is that in Asia, the way the loans are being made instead of holding securities or kind of the deposits, kind of what we own, right, are very different nature in what we see in Europe. And what more, the European regulators have kind of stepped in, right? They kind of say what's happened with CS, it's a very isolated incident. That would have kind of at least stemmed. I think there is a risk of more of AT1s pricing to perpetuity instead of call, that the market has adjusted. And for us, where Asia AT1 sit can be fairly interesting from here on.